Check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey. 1, 2, 3, 4. Check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey. Oh no, you're. I don't have you guys on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
He's saying he believes it's 1:25 p.m. 1:25 p.m. for Oscar. He thinks Pacific time. So we'll be here.
Yeah, so we'll be here.
We'll be here. Good. Then we'll get my viewing party that I wanted. Yeah, it'll be perfect. Got that mic for you right here.
Oh, thank you very much.
Well, welcome back. How are you feeling this fight week?
라스베이거스 하잉을 합니다. 오늘 아침 이번 주 어떻게 컨디션 어떻습니까?
괜찮습니다. 다 좋고 배고픈 거 빼고는 항상 배고픈 거 빼고는 다 좋아요.
Except for being hungry, I'm doing great.
So, can you talk to me a little bit about what happened last time? Because I know you guys were already scheduled to fight. There was a medical issue. Just can you explain what happened and why the fight fell through?
지난번 시합 취소된 거 좀 얘기해 주세요.
귀 뒤쪽에 좀 조만한 상처가 있었는데 뭐 의사가 포도상도균 그거 같다고 시합이 취소됐어요. 너무 어이가 없었어요.
So there was a small scar or small like scratch on the back of my ear, and the physician said that it was staph infection. So the fight got canceled, unfortunately, and it's kind of whack.
Yeah, I can imagine that was disappointing so close to the fight. Did you speak to your opponent and did you guys have any words or talk about what had happened?
시합 취소된 다음에 뭐 상대하고 얘기했나? 뭐 어떻게 어떤 상황이 됐다고 얘기했나?
아 인스타그램으로 얘기했어요. 이렇게 돼서 좀 유감이다. 너도 체중 빼느라 힘들었는데 많이 아쉽다. 그리고 타바레스 선수도 뭐 쾌차를 바란다 뭐 이렇게 얘기했는데 다친 게 없는데 잘 얘기했어요.
Yeah, I talked to him on Instagram. I told him what happened, and sorry. We both cut weight. We were both looking forward to this fight, and unfortunately, it didn't happen. And Brad was very understanding of it. He's like, these things happen.
Were you when it happened, did they say right away, "Oh, we're going to rebook you guys for another date"? Because I know sometimes when fights fall through, they give you another totally different opponent. Was it important for you to fight him, and did you know the whole time it was going to be him?
취소된 다음에 바로 브래드 타바레스 하는 거 하고 다시 알게 됐어? 아니면 다른 선수하고 하겠다라고 나왔나?
그거는 잘 몰랐어요. 근데 뭐 브래드 타바레스 선수와 이렇게 다시 경기가 오퍼 와서 뭐 싸우를 했고 이게 다시 싸우러 왔습니다.
No, I didn't really think about it too much. I'm a company man. I'll fight whoever the UFC says. And then when we got the contract and it was Brad Tavares again, it was just another day at the job.
Is it difficult to think about one opponent for so long? Because what's it been, almost a year thinking about this one opponent? Does that kind of stress you out, or do you learn anything new at some point? Is it kind of just stop learning at that point?
이번 상대 거의 1년 동안 준비했어요. 브래드 타바레스. 지난번 시합 취소한 거 하고. 그것 때문에 뭐 부담감 있나? 아니면 그거 이제 다시 또 훈련하니까 상대 생각하고 훈련하니까 뭐 더 배운 거 있나?
Two-time cutting weight. Fuck. Two-time. 뭐 훈련이야 뭐 항상 똑같이 하지만 이게 감량을 2번 이게 연달아 하니까 먹고 싶은 것도 못 먹고 지금.
The training and everything else was the same, but I had to cut weight twice, so that really sucked.
Did you get paid for cutting weight for making weight last time? Did you get any kind of pay for that?
지난번 체중 통과해서 그때 쇼번이 받았나? 돈 받았나? 그치?
술 좀 줘.
I need a beer.
안 받았어요.
I didn't get anything.
Wow. Do you believe that in a case like that you should be getting paid? I know, of course, you're going to say yes, but when you think of other fighters going through that same thing, does it make sense to get paid if you've made weight?
그런 상황이 나면 뭐 개최 통과하고 뭐 누구 때문에 시합 빠진 건 아닌데 그때 쇼머니 받는 게 맞다 안 맞다 생각합니까?
주면 좋죠. 근데 주면 좋은 것 같습니다. 근데 일을 안 했으니까 약간 좀 찜찜한 건 있는데 주면 좋죠.
Of course, I'm not going to complain if I get paid for making weight, but at the same time, I didn't really put any work in yet. I'm paid to fight, and technically, I didn't fight, so I can't complain too much.
음식값이라 좀 주지.
But I'd like for them to pay for a meal or two.
When you think of the opponent and you think of the game plan that you had for your last fight, has it changed at all over this time? Did you learn anything about yourself or even your opponent, or is it the same game plan going in this time that it would have been in July?
지난번 시합 취소된 거 하고 지금 거 비교하면 작전은 달렸습니까? 아니면 작전 똑같습니까?
예, 똑같습니다. 안 싸웠으니까 그냥 2번 체중 뺐다는 거 빼고는 달라진 거 없습니다.
Nothing really changed in the game plan. It's the same opponent. I'm the same guy. The only thing that's changed is that I got to cut weight twice for this fight.
Thank you.
Is middleweight getting harder and harder to make you're not old by any means, but is it getting harder and harder to keep making middleweight?
미들급 아직 통과하는 거 가능합니까? 아니면 점점 더 힘들어집니까?
뭔 소리야?
미들급 체중 통과하는 거 체중
이지.
통과하는 거
Easy.
더 어려워집니까? 아니면
It's
계속 똑같아요?
Easy.
Will you always be at middleweight? Will you ever envision a day that you would move up to like light heavyweight, or do you think that you're maybe too small for light heavyweight?
항상 미들급 뜁니까? 아니면 라이트 헤비급 갈 생각 있습니까?
뭐 페이에 따라 다르겠죠.
I'll go over wherever they pay me to go.
True. I have to ask, were you woken up last night by the implosion of the casino down on the strip last night?
어제 그 트로피카나 폭탄이 아니고 그 트로피카나 호텔 부서졌는데
진짜?
억지로 부서졌는데 그것 때문에 깨웠나?
뭔 소리야?
어제
They knocked it down at like
잠
2:30 in the
깼어?
morning.
어제 새벽 2시 반에 트로피카나 억지로 부서졌어.
몰랐어요. 그냥 계속 잘 잔 것 같은데.
I had no idea. I was sleeping good.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, because they had fireworks and everything. It was very loud. We heard it down here on the south side of the valley. So I wasn't quite sure if you guys heard it where you were staying.
뭐 폭탄놀이하고 엄청 큰 이벤트였었대. 새벽 2시
나
반에.
못 들었어.
여기까지 들었대. 나도 안
못
들었어.
들었어.
나도 잤어.
우리는 구석이라고.
Yeah, we were tucked away in the middle of Vegas, but no, we didn't hear anything.
Very good. And I have to ask, is your meal after weigh-in and post-fight, is it always in and out, or do you ever try something different besides in and out here in town?
시합 끝나고 항상 인앤아웃이야? 아니면 뭐 다른 거 먹을 거 있나?
그 감독이 말한 거 뭐였죠? 파운틴? 무슨 파운틴 가이즈인가 뭐 있잖아. 뭐냐? 햄버거 그거. 요번에 파리 가서 먹었던 거 뭐냐? 파이브 가이즈?
Oh,
거기
Five
있어요?
Guys.
Five Guys.
그거 한번 먹어보고 싶은데.
I really want to try Five Guys this time.
Five Guys is very, very good. Yeah, it's real good. Real good. I guess keys to the victory. What needs to happen this Saturday to make sure that you get your arm raised in victory?
네가 이겨야 되면 어떻게 해야 되나?
초반서부터 상대가 어떤 경기에 대한 플랜을 생각하지 못할 정도로 계속 압박하고 체력적으로 계속 힘들게 해야 될 것 같아요.
I have to get in his face right away and not let him get set. I can't let Brad Tavares be Brad Tavares and be a good decision maker. I have to make him think about a lot of different things and just be in his face.
타바레스는 굉장히 똑똑한 스마트한 선수니까.
He's a very smart fighter, so naturally I got to take that away from him.
And with a nice flashy victory, perhaps we think we'll see you as a main event next time. You're co-main on this one. You think next time with a nice good finish, we'll maybe see you as a main event, a top of card next time?
이번에 화끈하게 이기면 다음에 메인 될 것 같습니까?
그건 잘 모르겠습니다. 그건 UFC에서 해주지 않을까요?
I don't know for sure, but if I win spectacular fashion, yeah, why wouldn't they be putting me in a main event?
Awesome. Best of luck on Saturday.
Finish?
I know, it was so fun. Oh, he's like, cut weight twice. I hear Rafa Garcia. Yeah. Well, welcome back. It has been a while since we've seen you. Can you just talk to us a little bit about what you've been through?
Thank you for having me here. I had surgery last July. I tore my ACL and my PCL, so it's gone for a little bit.
How difficult was that to not? I'm assuming you weren't able to train. You know, you had to go through a little bit of a layoff.
It was just I feel like the most difficult part of it was just the beginning, because I couldn't really move. I was in bed the whole time. I tell everybody my wife was hiding my crutches. I was trying to get up, but just be walking around with a crutch. I'm like, I'm good with crutches. She's like, no, sit down. She's a nurse. So she takes extra precautions taking care of me.
Was it difficult just mentally not being able to go out and train?
Yeah, for sure. It was a little bit difficult. I'm used to always being on the run, just working out, training, driving to Orange County to go train. So, I mean, just putting the brakes on me a little bit was a little bit hard.
Did you do anything that you wouldn't normally do? Like, did you start watching a show you would never seen or read like a book that you hadn't, anything like that?
Man, being in bed till 12 sometimes, that's something I never do. I always wake up like at 5 in the morning, go outside, go check out my animals, go run, go do something. And right now, when I was in bed, I was like, damn, I can't do nothing.
So now that you're back, what do you think of ring rust? Do you think that that's a real thing? Do you think that's more a mental thing?
I mean, I think it's a little bit more mental. As soon as I could walk, I started doing a little bit of movement. You know, I was in the gym, just sitting there watching people train and just keeping myself like up to date, you know, to see what they're learning, what they're doing. So that helped a lot too.
What did you think of the opponent when you got the name?
I mean, I was excited. I feel like it's a great opponent for me. It's beating Grant Dawson. It's knocking on the top 15, you know.
He did an interview recently where he said that he would prefer to be dominant and not as exciting. What do you think of that kind of mindset?
I mean, everybody has their own their own way of thinking, but I mean, I like to go out there and dominate, but in a violent fashion, you know, go in there and try to finish somebody always.
What sort of fight are you expecting from him?
I think he's going to try to take me down, shoot. He's going to try to make me walk back. But I mean, I'm not taking a step back. I'm going to get in his face, making him back up, and I'm getting that finish.
Thank you.
Hey, Rafa. I don't know if you checked, but you're a 330 underdog. And are you kind of surprised at how big of an underdog you are?
I don't even know how that works, but no, I mean, it doesn't matter. I haven't fought in a while, so it's normal, I guess.
Have you been bummed, you know, not being able to be part of the two UFC Noche events? They went to Mexico in February. You've been kind of on the sidelines just as watching.
A little. I mean, I was supposed to fight in July, then they changed it to August, and they said September. Then we finally got the deal done in October. So, I mean, I just feel that God plans are perfect. I mean, if you put me to fight in October, I'll fight in October.
And you're sharing a car with Dan Argueta. Does that make you any nervous sharing a team with a teammate?
It's exciting. I mean, I bet I'll be nervous when he's fighting. I'm going to be a little bit nervous. I mean, it's normal because, I mean, Dan is someone I appreciate a lot, and I know he's going to be nervous when I fight too. So, I mean,
Gotcha. Great. And then finally, since you last fought, Danny Silva has gotten into the UFC, picked up a win. Were you excited to see him get the contract?
Hell yeah, because I've seen how hard they work. So I'm excited. I'm always cheering for my teammates.
Awesome. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We've heard in the past when fighters been injured and sit there and at the gym watching everybody train that the mental side of preparation gets a lot of work. Did you feel that you're coming in maybe more clear of this fight because you've had so much time to kind of think about it and you've been thinking more mentally about the game as opposed to partaking in the training camps and stuff?
Yeah, for sure. One thing that I also did when I got injured, I mean, I was only in home like for 2 weeks, and then Cub was like, man, I have my fight week, come to Vegas with me. And he brought me in crutches. Like, my dad had to drive me out here, drop me off, and I was doing PT out here. I did most of my PT out here in Vegas, the PI. So, I mean, I was always watching practices, seeing me doing conditioning. I mean, just revolving myself in the fighting aspect of the game, doing things that I could do. I mean, I couldn't work my leg. The PI would get a strength and conditioning coach and make me do arms, like stuff related to fighting, you know. I was in the PI doing my physical therapy. I was doing physical therapy twice a day, and it helped a lot, you know.
Yeah. Do you feel like that maybe helped speed up the process of getting back in?
Yeah, of course. I mean, after that 1 week that I was training the PI, I was walking already. Yeah. I mean, obviously with my brace, but I was walking already. So I mean, that's like a significant, I mean, improvement.
And I know no fighter wants to take time off from fighting, but we often hear that the mental side of the fight is sometimes bigger and the more challenging than the actual physical part of the fight. Do you agree with that? And do you feel that the mental side is something, it's kind of, I guess, a blessing that you were able to focus on the mental side of things as opposed to just the physical?
Yeah, I mean, the hardest part for me was just having people like babying me a lot, you know? that was the hard part for me, being babied. But besides that, I mean, I got to spend a lot of time with my kids, with my wife, with my family, just being home. I mean, I I'm always traveling. I used to do my camps in Denver. This camp I did in Orange County. I'm still traveling. I'm driving 3 hours and a half to come train. I'm here the whole week, and then just see my family in the weekend. So just being with them that time off was really good.
You said you trained this camp in a different area. What was
Yeah.
the decision behind that?
I mean, just changing things up a little bit. Feel like there's always room for change and to evolve.
Yeah. And I guess last for me, just keys to the victory. What needs to happen to make sure they get your hands raised on Saturday?
I mean, just make the Grand Dawson walk back and put my hands on him and just make it a pressure fight,
Best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Welcome back to Fight Week. It's your second main event in a row. Does it still feel exciting?
ファイトウィークにようこそお帰りなさいませと。2回連続のメインイベントですが、今のお気持ちはいかがですか？
すごい2回目のメインイベントで気合が入ってます。すべてが順調です。
Yeah, my second main event. I'm very excited. All's been very good.
And clearly the UFC is pushing you, trying to make you a star. They keep putting you in big fights as main events. Does that give you a little bit of extra pressure, or is it extra motivation, or maybe a little bit of both?
メインイベント2回連続で、UFC としても本当に期待を向けているんだろうなというのが感じられますが、ご自身としてプレッシャーに感じたりとかそういう思いはありますか？
プレッシャーっていうよりかは目の前のロイバル選手に、フォーカスしてて、この試合を楽しもうかなって思ってます。
I wouldn't say pressure. I'm just focused on the opponent right here, Brandon Royval. I just want to enjoy the fight.
What did you think when you got the name?
対戦相手聞いたときどう思いましたか？
これに勝てばタイトルマッチ決まるなっていうふうに思いました。
I just felt get this win and I think I'm going to get the title fight.
What sort of fight are you expecting from him?
今回どんな試合展開を予想しますか？
本当1ラウンドから、プレッシャーかけて、2ラウンド3ラウンドに仕留めれたらなって考えてます。
Keep pressuring from the first round. By second or third, I'll take the finish.
Are you looking at this as the biggest fight of your career so far?
ここまでのキャリアの中で一番大きな試合と捉えてますか？
そうですね、この僕のキャリアを振り返っても一番大きな試合になるかなって感じてます。
Yes, looking back at my career, I would say this will be my biggest fight.
And you already mentioned you think, if you win, you'll get a chance at the title. Do you feel like you only need a win, or do you need to do something really special?
これ勝って王者挑戦とご自身でも先ほどおっしゃいましたが、勝てば大丈夫というふうに捉えてますか？それともやはり大きなインパクトが必要でしょうか？
大きなインパクトは必要かなって考えてます。競る試合とかは考えてなくて、自分の強さを出す試合にしたいなって思ってます。
Definitely want to show a big impact. I just definitely want to show my strength. That's something I want to show in this fight.
And I know you don't want to look past Brandon, but have you had a chance to think about what a fight for the title would look like? How do you see a fight going?
目の前の試合というところだとは思いますが、その次に待っているであろう王者戦について考えるようなことはありますか？
この試合に集中してるんですけど、本当、タイトルマッチっていうのは、僕の中でずっと頭の中には想像してます。
Sure, I'm definitely focused on this one, but thinking of title fights, I've always dreamed and thought about the title fight, so that's something that I always have in mind.
Thank you.
Tatsuro, the UFC hasn't been back to Japan since 2017. Dana White said last night that they need a star in order to go back. Do you believe you can be the fighter to bring them back to Japan?
UFC は2017年以降日本でやれてないと。で昨日ダナ・ホワイトも、日本に行くにはやっぱり日本のスターが必要だというような発言もありましたが、ご自身がそのスターになれると感じていますか？
そうですね、本当、UFC が日本に来るということで、そのスターに、自分ならなれるかなって、なりたいなと思ってます。
Yes, I'd love to have UFC back in Japan, and am I the star? Yeah, hopefully, I want to be that star to bring that back to Japan.
I just wanted your thoughts on Kaya Sakura joining the UFC, and he's not only joined the UFC, but he's in the flyweight division.
朝倉海選手が UFC に入った、かつフライ級ということですけども、どうですか？
すごく朝倉海選手の参戦で、 すごく刺激になるものはありますし、おのずとそのいい、ライバル関係というかそういうのになれたらなって思ってます。
Yes, excited to hear that Asakura's joining. Hope we'll be like good rivals.
Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
What do you think of Brandon's striking, and do you find that he's a good opponent that you'll be able to showcase your own striking?
ブランドンのストライキング能力についてどう思ってますか。またかつ自分自身のストライク能力も発揮できる試合かなというふうに捉えていますか。
そうですね、自分のストライキングの強みも出せる試合になるかなって思ってます。でも彼ものストライキング手数に対してはすごいなと評価してます。
Yes, I think I can show my striking skills on this one. I do value his striking skills.
What would you say his best quality, or I guess his biggest danger that you have to prepare for?
相手の一番の長所、一番警戒しなきゃいけないのはどこだと捉えてますか。
相手の一番の武器は体力、カーディオかなって思ってます。
Say cardio.
And lastly, what are your keys to the victory? What needs to happen to make sure that you get your arm raised on Saturday?
勝ちに向けて必須であること、何が必要だと思いますか。
本当5分5ラウンド、いろんなことをしてくる選手なので、スピニング系とかいろいろ彼の攻撃に注意しながら、相手にダメージを与えていこうかなって思ってます。
5 rounds. He's got a lot in his skill set. I know he's gonna show like spins or just be cautious, be focused, and keep giving him damage.
Good luck for Saturday.
Thank you.
Leave our stuff in here for Thursday too. And then
There's no audio coming through right now.
I'm gonna take these down.
Hey, it's nothing, not your fault. I have audio. For some reason, it fast forwarded.
I have audio. Look, it's moving now.
He didn't think he thought Guru was out alone.
So are you good?
I guess, but I thought I saw that last time though. I don't know. I guess we'll test it on the next one. It's all right. Well, welcome back. But before we start, I have to hear about this shooting. I need more details.
I mean, I feel like I don't know. I don't really like care to talk about it too much because like someone died. But at the end of the day, I don't know. I should definitely have prepared something to say for this. But I guess yeah, there's a shooting that happened in Utah. It happened pretty much right in front of us. But yeah, I guess the only thing that matters is that at the end of the day is you know we seen some crazy shit. Alex stood locked in, won his fight, and kudos to him on that because that was a lot to deal with. First thing in the morning, it's like 11 a.m., right? Might have been 10 a.m., 11 a.m., and my boy had to report like a couple hours later, and yeah, pretty much anything that could go wrong on that walk did go wrong, and yeah, stood locked in, won a short notice fight, and kudos to him on that.
I'll just ask one more. What's kind of, you know, normal people don't run after someone like that, and fighters tend to do that. We see that a lot, where fighters will step in when something dangerous is happening to help people. What do you think is behind that? What something do you guys have that maybe the average person wouldn't have? That courage.
I mean, I can't really speak to anybody really, like speak on anybody else, but I feel like I've found myself in a lot of shitty situations, and I've been around a lot of shit that happens. I feel like I'm a little bit of a shit magnet, so I'm not really unfamiliar with some weird shit like that happening. Not necessarily a shooting like that, but yeah, I did CPR like a week before on some like another dude. We got in a car accident. It's actually been a crazy month. So I would stay as far away from me as possible, to be completely honest. But yeah, been a crazy month. Gotten threatened by crackheads. Done CPR. Been in a car accident. And are we missing out on anything? Oh yeah, fucking shooting. Seen someone die. Yeah, just anyways, yeah, probably stay away from me this week.
So does that distract you going into a fight like this? Or like you mentioned, you know, you guys already had to kind of do a whole fight right after that. So how much does that stuff stay in your mind?
No, this is actually like something that I don't even think we talked about it till even now, but it's just like that happened. We all got back to the hotel. I got back to the hotel a little bit later than everybody else, of course, but we got back to the hotel. Nobody said a word about it. We warmed up, got ready, fucking watched Alex go take a dub, and then didn't really talk about it until after the fight. Like we had a mission. We came to Utah on a mission, just like all my Mormon friends. Yeah, we came knocking on doors in Utah this time, all right? Yeah, and like we just never talked about it until after the fight. We just locked in, and I just feel like it wasn't the time to kind of just air it out. Just want to make sure homeboy's good. Locked in for the fight, went and dominated, and then we're like, dude, we saw someone fucking die today. That's crazy. But yeah, rest in peace. And damn, crazy.
Well, now we'll switch to the fight. What did you think when you got the call for the fight?
I mean, I didn't know. I really didn't know who I was gonna fight. I almost was sure I was gonna fight Albazi, but I wasn't really sure who I was gonna fight. Tatsuro has been doing great, and it makes sense. It makes sense. He's top 5 of the division. We're both not booked, and he has a lot of hype around him, and it makes all the sense in the world that would be called next.
How do you see a fight with him going?
I feel like because me and him have ran into each other, like, you know, I've trained with him a handful of times. I feel like it's going to be one of those, like, you know, anytime we see each other, we're going to probably greet each other, smile, like all the above. And then when it's fight time, we're going to actually go for it. So you're going to see 2 killers try to kill.
Do you still get excited about being on a main event?
Yeah, I get excited. I get super excited. I'm not stoked about fighting at the Apex, but this is all strategic. I wanted a main event. I asked for a main event. I don't care that I'm at the Apex because what I want more than anything is a 5-round fight.
Do you see a win here being another title shot?
I'm not sure what I see a win here, but what I do see a win here is me having a victory over the whole top 5 of the division, and I'll be pretty hard to fucking deny pretty soon here. So my job here is, once again, the same thing as the Moreno, is to go make the matchmakers' lives hard and, you know, make their job a little bit harder and make my job a little bit easier.
Thank you.
Raw dog.
What up?
Can you talk about a little bit about the camp switch and new camp and what you're doing?
Yeah, I feel like at the end of the day, it's like I don't want to get into like anything too crazy, but or like any of the details of things. But at the end of the day, it's like I get to go hang out with my best friends. I get to go train with all my best friends and have fun, man. And it's just a small group of people, and we're just looking out for each other. Every day is organized. Every day is organized to one of us, or specifically for all of us, and we're all pushing each other, make each other better. We all have one goal and all that. So it's a small camp, and then like I feel like what sits more importantly to me is just like I get to cut a paycheck with someone that I feel like has earned it for the last year, you know, or the last years of just fucking pouring sweat, tears into me. So I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna go put it on Tyra. I'm gonna make a bonus, and I'm gonna make me and my team a fat fucking check.
Oh, this might be silly, but like, for your entire career, it's been like very structured, the same corner, same camp, same everything. Now this is a whole new experience. Like, does that put any more pressure on you, or is it just kind of like a veteran by now?
No, I think nothing changes. I think everything's been the exact same. I'm really doing it with the coach that's been coaching me for the last few years of just the coach that I have now has been organizing my camp since Kaikar, France, been organizing the game plans, been writing out game plans, been doing all that. So nothing really switches for me at all. Got the same training partners. I still do jiu-jitsu at different gyms and wrestling at different gyms, and I was doing that before. So as far as like the only thing that really changes is that I don't get to see my homies at Factory X as much anymore, and I still see them and talk to them every day, and it's like I still root for them in every fight and all that stuff. So it's like nothing really changes for me at all. It's literally all the same.
You're an underdog again. What's up with this?
Yo, you guys tell me. I mean, that was like when we accepted the fight, and when my coach like thought it was a good idea to take the fight. It's just like Taira got a lot of hype around him. I think the other fight I could have took was Albazi, and I don't feel like he has too much hype right now. And it's like Taira got all the hype, Taira got the juice, and it's time to take that juice, you know.
I mean, on paper, it's a very fun fight. I mean, and anytime you're in the cage, it's madness. Can we expect that, or Tyra's such a, I don't know, he's like this new hot prospect. Like, does anything in that change, or is it like we're watching a Royval fight, so expect it?
Yeah, I mean, I really think I just dominate everywhere. If I'm just being honest, I think if we want to go have a technical fight, I'm gonna pick him apart. Part of me just wants to go walk out there and just be a dog, you know. So I don't know. I guess it just depends on how I'm feeling when I'm walking out there of what game plan I'm sticking to, of what I want to do. But I think I dominate the fight everywhere. I think I'm way superior than him everywhere where the fight goes. If you want to strike with me, I'll pick him apart. If I don't want to pick him apart, I'm going to go crash in and make it an ugly fight for 5 rounds. And if it hits the ground, I'm going to look for a submission and put him away. But the end goal is to make an extra bonus and walk out with my team and just have a good night.
Louis Goulet finally gets his shot next week. How stoked are you on that? And I guess for anybody that doesn't know that Savage, like, what can people expect next week?
Oh yeah, I was gonna bring him out here. He is out here with me, but I was bringing him out here because I'm like, yo, I'm gonna go win this fight, and that was like another part. I'm gonna catch this dub. We're gonna give him shout outs the whole entire time. I'm bringing him around for the whole fight experience because it's time for him to get signed. Homie's 9-0, 6 finishes, 5 KOs. Most of them are first round. It's like, yo, this dude. And he has a submission game. He chooses to knock people out. Like, he could wrap up a submission, let go, and just brutalize somebody. Luis is a brutal fighter. He's becoming more technical, and his game's really organized. And, man, I think everybody's in for a treat when you see Luis Goulet. It's a week notice, and 0 fucks given. My boy's coming in there, swinging them things, and I'm sure he's going to go take this full out.
Good luck this weekend.
Thank you, bro. What up?
I know you said.
What's up? How you doing?
I know you said people shouldn't be around you last night. I don't know if you heard, a building fell down here in Vegas last night. Was that because of you?
Yeah. It's because.
I know you guys were close down there. Did the implosion? Did it wake you up? Were you aware that happened last night?
Oh, I didn't stay in the fighter hotel. I went and drifted off. So.
Oh, well
yeah, so I didn't even. Yeah, I slept well.
Yeah, veteran move. I know you said that you think you're striking so much better leaps and bounds, but just looking at Tatsuro's striking, I know he's ranked 5th in the UFC, but does he have solid striking? I mean, do you?
Oh man,
that he does
this
have
kid's
good
the future. Don't mistake what I'm saying. I think I'm better than him right now. Right now, I'm taking him out everywhere, every situation, anything. And if worse comes to worse, I'm just gonna dog him and I'm gonna go fucking be a dog. Like, but that kid is the future of the division. Tatsuro will be a champion, and I hope after this fight, I hope after I catch his dub, I hope after everything goes well, I hope that I could help him go pursue that belt. Because a lot of the times, Tatsuro Taira trains in Colorado, so it's like I would love to be a part of helping him and helping him achieve his goals. But as of right now, I don't think we're on the same level.
I think that's great. Is that something you've done with past opponents?
No, I've actually never fought anybody I've known in my whole entire life. Besides, Charles Johnson came into our gym a couple times, and it's like I always wish him the best. But other than that, I've never trained with an opponent or anything like that.
That's awesome. And just last thing, keys to the victory. What needs to happen to make sure you get your hands raised on Saturday?
I don't know. I just say anything, really. I feel like I could pick him apart. I feel like I can be mean. I just think, avoid a few things that he's really good at. I feel like his front headlock game's really good. His back control's good. He's really a sniper with the right hand and the right kick. But other than that, I mean, just go out there and fucking be myself for sure.
Did cornering your boy Alex last week kind of keep you locked in on this fight? And how awesome was that to see him get the dub as well?
Oh man, that was like I feel like these are moments I really just like try not to take advantage of. But just like these are the fucking coolest moments of my life. These are the best days of my life. I'm going out here shitting bricks too. Like homeboy's stoic and cool. And he's out here calm and in the middle of a fight. But it's just like I'm shitting bricks, but I'm having fun. And and it's just like a day like that, a moment like that is just something you can tell your grandkids about, or you know what I'm saying? Like something that I could cherish and close to me forever. And it's like I don't ever want to like get numb to this because this shit is cool. And it's like you watch your boy out there go whoop some ass on a 2-week notice after fucking the craziest day. And really just, I don't know, man. At the end of the day, like walk out like it was another day of my life. And it's like, that's not another day. That's a significant day that'll be etched in my memory forever,
Best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you, bro.
What up, bro?
Well, this feels a little bit like deja vu. We were just talking to you about this fight in July.
Yep. Like what is that? A couple months ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, we already heard from him what happened, but what did you hear in the moment? What were your thoughts when you heard the fight was off?
So got on the scale, weighed in, went back to sit down, waiting for medicals, started rehydrating. I would say maybe 5 minutes went by. It was pretty quickly after I got off the scale. Got a call from Ali, and he's like, how you feeling? How you doing? I thought he was just calling me to, because I had just gotten off the scale and like just to check in. And I was like, oh, I'm good. I'm, rehydrating, whatever. He didn't even realize that I weighed in yet. And then the very next thing he said was, hey, your brother, your fight is off. And I'm like, what? Why? And then he's like, oh, I guess he had a staph infection, which I was like, I don't care. Like, I'll fight him. It's staph. Like, it's not a big deal. And he's like, nah, the commission won't let you, this, that, whatever. The very next question he asked was, would August 10th be okay to rebook it? Which I believe at that time was 2 to 3 weeks away. And I was like, sooner the better. If we could fight next week or the week after that, that'd be great. He's like, okay, let me work on this. So now thought process is like, damn, like I just went through that weight cut, all of that for nothing now. So I went directly to like the production team, the blue shirts, and I just let them know, like, I was like, hey, I don't know if you guys have heard this yet, but my fight is off, so I'm gonna dip, if that's all right with you guys. And they're like, oh, just let us confirm. So they confirmed with whoever they had to, and sure enough, they're like, okay, yeah, we just got word, he didn't clear medicals, you can go. And then I spoke to Ali again. He called me back a little while later, and he's like, oh, he said no to August 10th, and I was like, okay, what and like when? And he's like, all right, well, let me work on it. And it's a fight I really like, opponent I really like, so I wanted to keep the fight. Obviously, also I went through an entire training camp preparing for this specific opponent. I don't want that to go to waste. And then anyhow, it was a few days had gone by. He called me back and he was like, okay, we rebooked the fight, this and that, and the date is October the 12th. And I'm like, dude, now we're gonna go through a full camp again. I didn't understand it, but it is what it is. I guess God's plan, here we are now, October 12th.
He mentioned that he DM'd you afterwards and apologized. And
he did.
Said,
Yeah.
Did he explain to you why not August? Because I didn't know that August was on the table. That's interesting that he wouldn't accept August. Do you know what the reason was?
No clue. I didn't want to, honestly, I have no issues with him. It is what it is. Everything happened the way it happened, and we're here now. But obviously, I was frustrated with it. I was pretty irritated. It ruined some things planning-wise that I had planned right after. For instance, my brother-in-law had gotten married on August 10th, and we were supposed to stay in Hawaii a little bit longer. We're gonna island hop, go see, like, my family and my wife's family is spread out throughout Hawaii, so we're gonna go. The wedding was on Maui. We're gonna go to Big Island, where a majority of my family is. We're also gonna go to Oahu, where we also have family. Like take our kids and whatnot, yada yada. Obviously, I had to get right back and get to camp, so that put a dent in things there. So yeah, I was irritated. I didn't want to reach out to him and ask him like, hey, why this, why that? He had his reasons. He already said no to it. So it is what it is. I don't know. I kind of feel like he had something else going on, and yeah, because I just don't see it. Like, I've never had a crazy staph infection, but I just cannot see staph taking you out for 3 months or whatever it was. But that's something you guys are gonna have to ask him.
Well, we already had him, so now we got to ask him after. If but he mentioned that it was just a scratch. Like, he doesn't think it was actually staph, so that was interesting.
So even worse. Like, if it's just a scratch, why couldn't we fight? To the August 10th. But whatever.
So when you have a fight like this, where you've already done a full fight camp, and now you're gonna have to do, like you said, another full fight camp, do you do anything different? Do you get that extra time? Do you figure out something new? Do you change up a game plan? Do you learn something more about him?
I don't think so. Like, my team and I were pretty diligent in, researching opponents and coming up with the game plan. So the only thing that changed was the date. Everything else is exactly the same. The weight, everything, the opponent, it all stays the same. Location, nothing changes. So honestly, it was just more about making sure that going from me having to fight him on July 20th, going right back into camp, making sure that I didn't overdo it, and it would be like I'm in camp for like 5 or 6 months, which is crazy. So I had to make sure I took some time off, let my body, my mind rest and recover, which I did, and then get back to work, which we did, and went through another camp, and camp went great. So here we are.
And when you weigh in like that and then the fight falls through and it's not something that's your fault, do you get paid for that, or do you have to just scrap it like it didn't happen?
Oh, yeah, that would have been rough. I would have been really pissed off. No, the UFC was kind. They compensated me. And obviously I would rather have gotten the fight and got my fight purse. But, they did at least do that for me, so thank you to them.
And going into this fight, do you see anything going to, like, now that you've sat around for 5 months, are you envisioning anything different for the fight?
Nah, like I said, it's the same guy, same weight, same place, same everything, just the date is different. So I see it, nothing has changed for me.
Is there any fear that this could happen again with him?
Oh, definitely. I don't think it will, but it's in the back of my mind. The funniest thing was after I had finished my final part of my weight cut on Friday morning, was at July 19th. We were driving here, me and Devin were driving here, and I was thinking, because I had been asked, you guys had asked me about, like this being the with this fight, it'll be the most fights in UFC middleweight history, this and that. And then so I kind of like pondered that, and I was thinking, like, your mind likes to do torturous things to you. And I was like, well, technically, even if I weigh in and for some reason the fight doesn't happen, I'm not there yet. And then just that little thought in my head, and then boom, get here a couple hours later and fight's off. And I'm like, why did I have to think that?
So I guess you won't feel comfortable until you're actually in there and the door closes for the
Yeah, I mean, I feel like once we're on our way, once I get here on Saturday, I'll be pretty confident that the fight is going.
Thank you.
Who's in the corner this weekend?
Ray, Eric, Devin.
I just wanted your thoughts on the middleweight division, and who do you think should fight next? Obviously you're probably going to pick Sean.
Yeah, Sean and Dricus, or Dricus defends against Sean. I don't think this is me being biased, because myself, Dana White included, all felt like Sean won that first initial fight. So I was actually kind of surprised that he didn't get especially with Dana coming on and saying like, oh yeah, I felt like Strickland won that fight, that he didn't get the immediate rematch. But is what it is. Keeps, the bus keeps going. But right now, I think that Sean deserves it.
Looking back at your fight with Dricus, and I know Dana said that he fights like a white guy dancing. Do you agree with that?
I mean, yeah, Dricus is one of those guys, I've said it before, is like he doesn't, it doesn't look like it's supposed to work, but he makes it work, and credit to him for that. It might not be the cleanest, prettiest, this or that, but he gets the job done. Like, look at all his fights. Like, they asked me about it before, and I'm like, you know what? Honestly, like, everything that tells me when he fought Izzy, I was like, everything tells me that Israel's gonna win this fight, but I just have this feeling, like, and I will not be surprised one bit if Dricus pulls it off. And then as the fight went on, Izzy started kind of taking over, and then here comes Dricus and gets it done, gets the stoppage, So, that guy is champion for a reason.
With you being in the cage with him, and you were doing very good against him, how does he keep winning? How does he look? He's just so dominant. He's on a really good run right now. Like,
yep.
How being a fighter, being a middleweight, how does he keep doing it?
I think it's just I think it's his heart and his belief in himself, and he just, you can never take it just doesn't seem like the fight, no matter how it goes, is ever out of him. He's always there. Like, he might look like, oh, he's about to gas out and he doesn't. It looks like, oh, it's going downhill for him, and then he comes back and wins. Like, so I think, he's proved he's champion for a reason.
Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
You're not the first fighter that we've heard say like fighting with staff doesn't seem to be as big a deal to them as we on the outside. Is that because it's maybe more prevalent in MMA and maybe a lot of fights than more people know? And is it because it sounds like you've never had one of the really serious versions of it on you?
Yeah, so I've never had like a super serious staph infection to where I've had to take antibiotics or anything. But I've had like ingrown hairs that when they look at it, they're like, oh, that's like that could turn into staph or whatever. So just put Neosporin on it, whatever, So I was like, oh, okay. So I've never dealt with it to that extent. I've seen some pretty crazy ones. I don't know if you guys remember Kevin Randleman back in the day.
It was like a hole.
Yeah, he had like a hole in his arm or under. But yeah, I see it all the time. I see a lot of my training partners get staph, and they're back in the gym in no time, and it doesn't seem like it really takes anything out of them. And so yeah, I didn't think that him having staph was a big deal. I would have gladly fought him with the staph. I wouldn't care. I would have took a shower after. I think I would have been fine.
And I was going to say, I definitely understand the commission that once they're made aware, they have to, draw a line and say nothing else. But going forward, or maybe if there was ever a possibility, do you think if the fighters talked about it and if the fighters agreed to it, that the fight should be allowed? Or is there, I don't know, but is there a problem of possible contamination if they just get into the octagon that other fighters could be affected?
I feel like if the two fighters agree that 100% it should be let go, or let the fight should be let continue. But I think if they're like, oh, a matter of we could get this bacteria on the canvas and somebody else could get it, as long as everybody is made aware and almost like ask them like, hey, you okay fighting with knowing this or whatever, like the whole card or whatever. And if somebody's like that much of a pussy about it, like, no, I don't want to get staph possibly. I don't know, it's staph, like I could see if they're like, oh, this guy has AIDS, then I'll be like, whoa, yes, negative. I ain't fighting this dude.
Yeah.
But I don't know, staph infection. I don't watch. I'm sure somebody's gonna hear this and hit me with some, well, did you know that 10,000 people died from staph infection? Like, fuck, all right.
Just going back to Park, and I appreciate that answer. Tell me, where do you see the main dangers with him? Is it his striking? Is it his ability to get the fight down on the ground? Where do you see the biggest challenges for him?
I think he's very well-rounded and puts MMA together well. I don't think he's like a specialist or an expert anywhere. And obviously, he doesn't have the kickboxing or boxing accolades, the wrestling, or even like the jiu-jitsu. But he does put them all together well. Like he's a very complete MMA fighter. I think honestly his biggest attribute is his toughness.
Yep.
It's just how tough he is. Like I've watched him in fights and where you think like, oh, okay, this guy is done, and he pulls it out. Very very similar to a Dracus, but I don't think he's nowhere near as like dangerous as like a Dracus.
And both your guys' style, you guys are definitely more inclined to just stand in the middle of the cage and throw hands. Do you envision that's pretty much what the fight's going to be? You guys just throwing bombs out in the middle?
I would hope so, but honestly, I think that he's going to want to go to the ground where he feels like he has his best advantage. But if it ends up being a kickboxing match, I'll take that all day.
Yeah. And just, I guess, a Vegas question last night. They imploded the Tropicana. Did you stay up and watch that? Or
I did not, but my brother caught it on camera. He watched it. He stayed up for it, and I guess it was like a whole spectacle. He actually just showed it to me on our ride here.
It was pretty incredible, the fireworks and everything.
The fireworks. He said there was a drone show. Yeah. I was like, it would be Vegas to make a whole spectacle. Hey, we're going to blow up this building. Here's a show.
Yeah, right. Best of luck on Saturday.
We good? Yep.
Grant, how you feeling?
Good, man. It was a long camp. 13 weeks was my notice. Super long. I'd rather have a longer camp than a shorter camp, so no complaints.
Yeah, so this is a perfect, I guess, amount of time in between fights for you.
Yeah, I like to stay active. I've gotten 2 fights a year since I've been signed to the UFC. I wish I could do more, but I totally get it. You know, I'm a hard guy to find fights for, and there's already a bunch of, you know, super talented guys in the UFC that they need to find fights for, so I totally get it. I think this was one of my shortest layoffs in between fights, and I'm super happy about that.
Speaking about the fight, on paper, it's actually a pretty interesting fight between 2 really good grapplers. Usually when that happens, it turns into a kickboxing fight. How do you kind of foresee this fight going down?
I mean, you know, they asked me the same thing about Joe Selecki. You know, he's a really good grappler, and they said, are we going to kickbox? And I said, only if he can stop the takedown. I'm not afraid to strike with Garcia. I think he's phenomenal everywhere. I think he's a really, really well-rounded fighter, and I think he's super, super tough. I think I'm a better fighter, and I think I'm just as tough as he is. We have a game plan, but one of my best qualities is I'm a problem solver. It's why I shoot so much in fights. Is I take a shot, okay, you stuff that one. I'm gonna take another shot until I get you figured out how I can get you down. I think that's what this fight's gonna turn into, is me taking shots, him stuffing them, and me figuring out how I can get the takedown safely.
What do you think when they offered you Rafa Garcia?
Yeah, I was thinking that my next fight was going to be in the top 15, but I definitely think that this is a segue into the top 15. I wouldn't be surprised if on Monday I was ranked after beating Garcia. I think he's top 15 worthy. I think he's a very, very tough opponent. And you know, not to put myself down or anything like that, I think the line is, the betting line is absolutely insane. I think he's a lot better than the betting line is showing, which kind of sucks because if I go out there and dominate him, it doesn't look good for me. And if I go out there and have a close fight, I just beat a really, really good guy, and I don't even get the credit for beating a really good guy that way.
Why do you think the odds are so crazy? Is it because of his layoff? Is it because the people are so high on you? Is it a little bit of both?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think people know how good I am. I think people are underestimating how good he is. But yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. At the end of the day, it's not my job to figure that out. They put a problem in front of me, and I've got to solve it.
What are your thoughts on ring rust? Rafa's been out of the cage for a while. Every fighter has a different thought on ring rust. What's yours?
I don't really believe in it. I think it's a lot like going to the chiropractor. It doesn't really work unless you believe it works. So I don't really believe in ring rust unless you believe in ring rust. But I think that's you. That's not the time off. There are guys that we see that I think need time off. Like, you know, who's the French dude that just lost to Moicano?
BSD.
Yeah, I think he needs to take some time off. I think he needs to take a lot of time off. And some would say, well, what about ring rust? I think time off would be really good for him. He's been really active. He's taken a lot of damage. I think he needs to get better and come back, and I don't think ring rust would be a problem for him.
You said recently that you rather be dominant than exciting. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, there are guys that would rather lose an exciting fight than win a boring one, and I'm here to do one thing, and that's win. I don't care about anybody but me getting that W. You know, exciting fights pay the bills until you get cut. Winning is what it is. And I think I'm taking a little bit more of a effort to be exciting in this fight, but if I have to choose between being exciting and winning, I'm taking winning. And just to go off that, I go into fights prepared to fight to the death. And then I realize how easy it is for me up to this point to take people down. And if I can take you down and hold you down, I'm going to do it. The wars will come. I promise you that I am going to, at some point, be in a war where I have to show my heart and show how tough I am. It's going to happen. There's no need to get there early.
And is this whole thought process kind of like from like a backlash from your last fight or maybe your loss to Bobby Green, or is it just kind of like always been your mindset?
I want to be a world champion. You know, and I totally get that exciting guys get to skip that line, but there's a lot of really exciting guys that never got the belt because they lose fights they shouldn't have. It's a game of inches in this sport. It is a game of inches. And if you make one mistake, we saw it against Bobby Green. I made one mistake and he made me pay for it, you know. It set my career back probably 2-3 years, and I've got to fight my way back now. So I would rather win fights. I'm here to win fights, and I know I'm not the most exciting fighter, but I think out of all the grapplers, heavy styles, I think I have one of the more dominant ones that gets finishes. So, there you go.
With you saying that, you know, like exciting fighters cut the line a little bit, do you foresee yourself taking the Bilal Muhammad, the Merab style, of winning a whole bunch of fights before you get a title shot?
I have no idea, man. I've thought about that. But I can tell you for sure that if I lose, that road's going to be longer.
And then finally for me, man, can you talk about Moicano's resurgence of just being this savage? Like, what's it like being in the room with him and just his mindset?
I don't think anything's changed. I think you guys are just paying more attention to him because he's being a lot more outspoken. He's being more political, and he's saying the stuff that people don't usually say on the mic. He's always been that good. You know, he's always been what you saw him do in his last fight. He does that to pretty much everybody in the gym every day. He is that good. He's always been that good. I think you guys are just paying more attention to him because now he's being, you know, brash on the mic and saying all of this stuff and that's him. Like, that's not an act. That is 100% Money Moicano right there.
Can you see him making a run for the title and eventually fighting for it?
Absolutely. I think he could fight for it now. I mean, not like on paper-wise, but I think he is good enough that he could win that belt right now. Unfortunate circumstances happened to him. He was supposed to fight Arman Sarukian, another fantastic fighter. Who knows how that fight would have gone, but maybe Moicano beats him, and now he's the #1 contender, but he got injured. It's just this sport, and this is one of the reasons, like you said, like maybe I'm going to have that Bilal Muhammad route. I don't take any of that into consideration because I know that this sport can change any second. All it takes is me being able to make weight on 2 weeks' notice, and I'm in. You know, like we need somebody to fight so-and-so, and Grant can make the weight, get him in there. Oh, wow, great performance, put him in for the belt.
Gotcha. And then finally, it seems like Arman's fighting Islam next. I just want your thoughts on that fight, and who do you think wins that fight?
So you're asking me to pick with a guy that I've trained with. Come on, it's a super tough fight. It's obviously the #1 guy right now versus the champion right now. I think it could go either way. I'm giving the edge towards Arman because of the weight cut. I think the weight cut is too much for Islam right now. I really, really do. And I've got a rough weight cut too, so I know what it's like. I've seen him during his weight cuts. I think his weight cut plays way more into it than people think.
Good luck this weekend.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
How much weight do you usually have to cut?
None of your business.
Sounds like a lot, huh? Well, you mentioned Moicano. You said that now he's talking more brash on the mic. Is that something he's always been in the gym? Has he always been more of a talker in the gym that maybe we're just now catching on to?
Yeah, I think so. Like, talking to him, what you see is what you get. And it was kind of, to me, it was like when I met him, I was like, man, this isn't the Moicano that I saw in fights and stuff like that. Like, he's a really funny dude, and I'm glad that he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah, he's hilarious. You mentioned the timeline. You thought it got bumped back 2 or 3 years. So is that in your mindset, 2 or 3 years, that's where you envision yourself that you would be fighting for a title? Or do you think that you could make that time skip a lot more, maybe a year or two?
Yeah, I don't know. Numbers say that I've got until I'm 36 to win a belt realistically, and I'm 30 now. So I got 6 more years, and all I can do is just win.
Yeah. Are you the kind of guy that puts a particular game plan, or do you just focus on yourself before you go in there? Like, do you have a set game plan for Rafa going in, or are you just worried about you?
No, yeah, I definitely have game plans. I think we've got a very good game plan set up. But like I said before, I'm a problem solver. So if that game plan doesn't work, I'm going to figure out a way to win. You know, I've been in tough fights before. I've fought guys like Garcia before who are very, very tough. I don't take easy fights. I take tough fights and make them look easy. And that's I think people are seeing I am very, very dominant. And it's not that every fight is easy. It's not that I fought turds. I fought a bunch of really, really good guys, undefeated guys that haven't been finished before, guys that, oh, this is going to be the guy because he does this and this. And I for the most part, I beat them all. So I think that unless you get lucky, I don't believe in luck. Unless you catch me early, I think it's going to be a hard time beating me. Real quick, Garcia, he's not a huge finisher. He's a grinder, and I just think it's going to be really hard to beat me by outgrinding me.
Who takes the best notes? And because it sounds like you watch a lot of fights, I'm sure your coaches do as well. Who does most of the note taking?
For my personal fights, I would say we're pretty even. I don't think anybody watches fights as much as Mike Brown does. That dude is an absolute nerd. I've got, if you look at my phone, I've got pictures of my dog. I've got pictures of my friends and some Yu-Gi-Oh cards that I like and some inappropriate pictures of my wife probably somewhere. But if you look at his phone, every single video and picture and everything is fights. Every single one. I've never seen a picture of his dog. It's all pictures of fights, and the dude is an absolute nerd. And when you put a nerd like me with a nerd like that, man, you're gonna create a world champion.
Yeah. What a savage! Not even a picture of his dog. That's
that, bro. Right? That's what I said. I looked.
You mentioned that you mentioned Benoit Saint Denis and other guys that there's a point where they just need to take time off. Is that because, is it just the body healing up, or is it a mind? Is it a mind losing a sharpness thing? Like, what is it that you think there's points where fighters just need to take a step away?
This is my personal opinion, and I would hope that Benoit does not take offense to this.
Yeah, and I just use his as one of the names.
Right. Yeah. I think Benoit's problem is where he trains. And I ran into this when I was training in Missouri. I trained there for 8 years, and it's not that it wasn't a great gym. It's not that they didn't know what they were talking about. I was just burnt out, seeing the same guys, training with the same training partners, throwing the same jab. I think sometimes you need to get out of that constant circle and see something new. And when I went to American Top Team, yes, they've got amazing training partners. Yes, they've got amazing coaches. Yes, they've got an amazing facility. But I think the number one thing that really boosted my career is I was excited about training again. I was excited to get my ass whooped. I was excited to learn something new. I was excited to nerd out about stuff again. And I believe, I don't know for sure, I believe that's what Benoit is going through right now. I think he's the best guy in his gym. I think he's better than his coaches. And I think he needs better training partners, better coaches, and he needs to get out of that monotony, out of his comfort zone. Again, that is just my opinion.
Yeah, and even outside of him, do you think that just fighters in general, whether they've been a long time at a particular gym, just as a variety, that they should go visit another gym just to maybe just switch it up a little bit or train with new partners? Would you suggest that to just fighters in general, to maybe step out of your gym for a little bit, get some different looks?
Yeah, I think it absolutely, and it also is very fighter dependent. Guys, if you've been with a gym for a long time and you lose one fight, don't be throwing everything to the wind. Like, losses happen. It's all good. But for me, when I was training at Glory, I knew I needed to make a change. It was something in my heart that I knew I needed to do if I was really honest about becoming a world champion. And I put it off. And then I went to a draw with a guy that I was a minus 550 favorite against. And I was like, okay, I'm religious. I was like, this is my sign from God. I need to change something.
And this might sound like an odd question, but it kind of came up earlier.
I love odd questions, just so you know.
If you knew that your opponent had staff, would you still be willing to go in there and fight if you knew in advance?
Absolutely. I hope he has staff.
Why is that? Because he's weakened the body?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Because we hear that oftentimes. Like, I know once a commission hears that the fight's off, but we often hear from fighters that are like, bro, it's not a big deal. If I knew the staff was there, I'd still fight.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've fought with staff plenty of times. I fought Bobby Green with staff. I fought Demir with staff. Like, I'm good, man. Let's go.
Last one.
I don't have staff now, just so everybody's aware. Okay, I don't.
Keys to the victory. What needs to happen to make sure you get your arm raised on Saturday?
I think it's just be ready for problem solving. I think he's got really good takedown defense. He does, and he's super tough and he's super aggressive. And I think he's going to be shooting on me a lot. We prepared for that. I think. Be ready to problem solve. I think he's going to throw some things at me I haven't seen before, and I have prepared for that mentally, physically. All I can do is go out there and try not to get knocked out.
Well, what's the most valuable Yu-Gi-Oh card that you own?
Bro, this is. You sure you want to go down this road? So I don't own a specific card that's like super valuable. The most valuable card I probably have is like maybe $1,000, but my collection together is probably worth somewhere close to $50,000.
Okay.
If my wife is watching this,
$5. It's only
5.0 is what I said.
What I gotta ask? Who are you playing with Yu-Gi-Oh cards? Like, what are you doing? Are you just collecting them and just?
No, I play. Yeah, I play like 3 days a week.
Other fighters or who?
No, absolutely not. Other fighters, they make fun of me a lot. No, I go to shops around. I got a bunch of friends. A couple of my Yu-Gi-Oh buddies are actually coming to the fight, so we'll probably play fight day.
Are you gonna have him dress up like some sort of?
No, but I would actually love to do that. I've wanted. So there's a really big tournament. It's called YCS, and I watch it. There's a couple of times a year. I watch it every time, and I really want to go to YCS. But dude, those guys are savages. Like those guys are absolute nerds. All of them virgins. Like I want to go to YCS at some point. You will see me at a YCS at some point. But right now I'm still focusing on the fighting. So we'll see how it goes.
Were you ever like a fan of Pokemon, or is it like you?
So I play a lot of different TCGs, but Pokemon was never really my thing. I'm just not into it as much as I like Yu-Gi-Oh. I like Union Arena. There's a new game that just came out. I can't remember what it's called, but I'm gonna probably get into that too. But my number one is definitely Yu-Gi-Oh. I play a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh.
What about Magic? The Gathering.
I've played it. It's just here. Okay, so here's the thing. I have a very I'm an adrenaline junkie. I have a very all TCGs. That stands for trading card games, by the way. Yeah, stands for trading card games. All TCGs are